So welcome back again to Classic Car Cave. It's taken about 45 minutes to get the screen in. It wasn't too much of a struggle, to be honest. The mini windows can be harder, but we've got a little issue now where it needs to be pushed in. I think it's not until we put the chrome in that it will sit back enough. There's a gap, you might be able to see it. I'll take you around, and I think it's because the screen's not bedded right. So we're going to leave it overnight, let it stretch, and you can see there's a gap there. But the screen is on and it's in. I just think it needs to be kind of bedded down, and you can see it's kind of pushing out on the bottom here. I think once it slides back it'll be okay. Windscreen's a mess because we've been using soapy water. Yeah, it's just some dishwashing liquid that we use, but just watered down. It just makes it that little bit easier to move it, because it's quite it's got quite a concave shape to it, as you can see. So it needs to be kind of slid round, but it's all in. Here you go. See how it's come out there. We have to get that back in again. But it's the start. New day tomorrow. It's back at 6. It's much later than we normally knock off. But it's a good start. So fingers crossed, no problems. I've got the first side in, the cubby box on this side. Obviously I've had to take the steering wheel off to get it over here. What I'm going to do now is fit the other side, and then I'll fit the main dash and just put it together, but it won't be fixed in place because I'm not happy with some of the brackets. Some of the brackets they have for here stick out on the side and they look awful, and you've got to put this vinyl over the top. So I'm going to try and come up with something else. I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel here, but I think there's some better ways of doing this. And we'll see if it works and if it doesn't, and perhaps anybody else doing this job might make it a little bit easier. So I'll show you once I put the passenger box in, and I'll do the front fascia and basically just put it together but not fixed completely, because what I want to do now is make sure all the brackets are correct and it's easy to get in and out. And I don't want to keep it in because obviously the windscreen, we've got to put the security strip in it. And if something should happen, God forbid it breaks, because they're over £600 for these windscreens. If we have problems, I want to be able to change it or take it back out or change the rubber. If something rips, it's very easy to rip this rubber, even though we only use plastic tools like I've got there on the front. Never use metal, guys. I know this is probably teaching you to suck eggs, but metal and glass do not go together. If it's not plastic or it's not rubber, don't stick it in a windscreen, you'll chip it or you'll crack it. So I'll show you what it's like when I put the other one in on that side, and then I'll put the fascia on and let you see the finished, well, not finished product, but at least it's set up. Okay, so this is not in by any means. It needs a massive amount of moving around. There's a few problems with a few of the switches. So it's in on that side, but on this side here you can see there's an overlap, and there's about a 2 or 3 mil gap there. So what I need to do is move this cubby box further to the left. And what it is, I've actually have to take the vinyl off inside, and I know it sounds crazy, but I have to actually dent in or hammer in slightly this insert in here, because this wood didn't come with the car. It would have been a leather bound one, and it was wood, so the wood could be cut, and I'm not cutting this. I would damage the veneer on it, but you can see how nice that would look. That top roll's not clipped in properly, it's not clipped underneath because it's a bugger to get back out, but that will give you a pretty nice idea of how it looks. So let me zoom you in, and you can see how nice that would look once it's all in. That's gonna look pretty nice. I think that will be the pièce de résistance of the car. It will really stand out massively. So I've got a lot to do, and I'll try and get it. I think it's going to take a few days, but that'll give you a good idea about how it's going to look. Again, the steering wheel, I've obviously taken that off to work on it, and the nut and the and the fastener or the tab washer's off. I've just put it on just to mock it up for you basically. But that's how it's going to look. I think you agree that it's going to look the nuts. We've got some of this aluminium which is much lighter than the wood. So Amir's going to try and going to make the same thing and recover it, but have the buttons on the inside so you don't actually see them. And there's even less chance of them touching as well. So he's going to make one up and see how we get on with it. And I'll take the interior out while he's doing that. Amir's made this aluminium plate. It's only 1 mil, I think, in it. It's 1 mil thickness. Okay, and this is just a test board. This would be the inside part of the interior of the seat. So we've put one of these in it. Yeah. So he'll show you now how it goes, and these are the clips that we're going to use. So the clip.
What we need, just a couple more.
So these are the clips we would use, and they would go obviously all the way down.
Yeah, maybe 4 or 5. We'll see.
And then you can see how we can just push it. Look, there you go. Obviously the whole thing.
Yeah, but
that's been in and out a few times. You can see, and this is quite heavy. Obviously the board is ridiculously heavy, but you can see how it would work, and this would just clip straight into it. We've used that in and out a few times to check it, so we need these kind of clips.
Yeah.
We're going to try. You couldn't find anything up there.
No, I check everywhere.
So that's where we're going with that. And lastly, this is the dashboard now fitted in. You can see the chrome is on it. And you can see the chrome's there. Obviously there are 2 hand thumb screws that go into here and here, which I don't have. I've got to order. And you might see, excuse my filming, and you might see that this obviously doesn't line up with this, and it certainly doesn't line up with that. And it does on the other, on the bottom there. You can see it lines up perfectly. And we've just measured it, and there's exactly a centimetre difference. That's 5 and this is 6. So what we have to do is elongate the bracket behind here, so we can lift it up, so it's actually in line with all this. But obviously the heater, you're going to do the heater vents in the morning, eh?
Yeah.
I think that would be good. And they'll do the heater vents in the morning, get them in, because they obviously fit in here. You can see the pipes. And that white piece we'll take out and paint. Not that you'll see it. And then we'll go from there, but you can see how it would be. You can see. And that's going to go straight on the eye, whereas that one is on the number, and it's out a little bit at the top only because the thumb screw is not in there. But there we go. So on that note, as usual, stay safe, keep the faith, enjoy your hobby, and go out and make something. Take care.